You're absolutely exhausted. Your brain feels like scrambled eggs. And somehow, the only thing that sounds remotely appealing is watching Harry Potter for the 17th time. Not a new thriller. Not that show everyone's talking about. Just good old familiar Hogwarts. Turns out, your brain isn't being lazy. It's actually being incredibly smart. Because after a long day of decisions, surprises, and general chaos, your mind craves something it already knows will feel good. Let's talk about what happens when you're mentally drained. Throughout your day, your brain's been working overtime. Every email, every conversation, every tiny decision eats up mental energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. By evening, your cognitive resources are running on fumes. So when it's time to unwind, your brain doesn't want another challenge. It wants safety. Familiarity. A guarantee that things will turn out okay. That's where your favorite comfort movie comes in. Here's the beautiful psychology behind it. When you watch something new, your brain has to work. You're tracking characters, predicting plot twists, processing unfamiliar settings. It's mentally stimulating, which is great when you're fresh. But when you're tired, that stimulation feels like homework. Your brain literally goes, nope, not today. Rewatching something familiar means zero cognitive surprises. You already know Hermione saves the day. Your brain can finally, blissfully just coast. Let's talk about why certain movies hit differently. Ghibli films, early Marvel, classic rom-coms, they're not just nostalgic, they're emotionally predictable. You know Totoro will be gentle. You know Tony Stark will crack a joke. That predictability creates a psychological safe space. Your brain associates these films with previous moments of comfort. So when you press play, you're not just watching a movie, you're triggering a conditioned relaxation response, like Pavlov's cozy blanket. Now here's where it gets interesting. Burnout culture makes us feel guilty about this, like we should always be learning, growing, consuming new content. But rest isn't lazy, rest is neurologically necessary. When you rewatch something familiar, you're giving your prefrontal cortex a break. That's the part of your brain responsible for focus, planning, and self-control. After hours of using it nonstop, it deserves to clock out. Your comfort movie is actual self-care, not escapism. Think about the post-work mental fog. You can barely decide what to eat for dinner, let alone navigate a complex plot. This is why streaming services are overwhelming when you're tired. Too many choices, too much novelty. Your brain's executive function is offline, so scrolling endlessly through Netflix isn't indecision. It's your exhausted mind searching for something that won't demand effort. And eventually, you land back at that one movie you've seen 100 times. Comfort movies also work like emotional anchors. Maybe you first watched The Princess Bride during a happy time in your life. Now, rewatching it doesn't just entertain you, it reconnects you to that feeling. Psychologists call this context-dependent memory. Your brain links the film to the emotional state you were in, so when you're stressed now, watching it again becomes a shortcut back to feeling okay. It's like emotional time travel, minus the DeLorean. Here's something you've probably noticed. You don't actually watch the whole thing. You're on your phone. You're folding laundry. You're half asleep. And that's the point. Comfort content doesn't demand your full attention. It exists in the background, like a supportive friend who doesn't need constant conversation. New shows would feel insulted by this treatment. But your comfort movie? It gets it. It knows its job tonight isn't entertainment, it's presence. Let's talk about why novelty feels threatening when you're drained. Your brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, stays active even during entertainment. When you watch something new, there's always a tiny undercurrent of uncertainty. Will this character die? Will this scene be disturbing? Is this going to emotionally wreck me? When you're already fragile, you can't handle more uncertainty. Familiarity promises safety. No surprises, no emotional ambushes, just gentle, guaranteed comfort. This is also why certain genres work better as comfort content. You're probably not rewatching intense psychological thrillers after work. You're choosing things with happy endings, clear good guys, predictable resolutions. Studio Ghibli understood this perfectly. Their films are like visual lullabies, soft colors, gentle pacing, reassuring narratives. They're designed to soothe, not stimulate. And when your nervous system is fried, soothing beats stimulating every single time. Your brain knows what it needs. Here's the part nobody talks about. Rewatching isn't passive, it's active rest. You're allowing your brain to engage without strain. Like stretching versus sprinting. Both have value, but only one repairs tired muscles. Psychologically, this is called effortless attention. You're focused, but not forced. Present, but not pressured. This state is incredibly restorative. It's where your mind processes the day's stress without realizing it. That's why you feel better afterward, even though nothing changed. Let's address the guilt. Maybe you feel like you're wasting time, like you should be more productive, more adventurous with your viewing choices. But downtime isn't supposed to be optimized. Not everything needs to be self-improvement. Sometimes, the most growth happens when you stop trying to grow and just let yourself be. Your brain can't run at peak performance constantly. Rewatching your comfort movie is maintenance, not stagnation. You're refueling, not avoiding life. There's also something beautiful about depth through repetition. Every rewatch reveals new details. A background joke you missed. A subtle character moment. An emotional beat that hits harder now because of your own experiences. Familiarity doesn't breed boredom. It breeds intimacy. You're not passively consuming the same content. You're deepening your relationship with a story that's held you through different seasons of life. That's not waste, that's connection. Think about how this ties to childhood. Kids rewatch the same movies endlessly. They want the same bedtime story every night. Adults often judge this, but kids understand something profound. Repetition creates mastery and security. As adults, we've been conditioned to always seek novelty, but our nervous systems still crave that childlike comfort. Rewatching isn't regression. It's honoring a fundamental human need for predictability in an unpredictable world. Sometimes, being childlike is wisdom. Here's why this matters for burnout. Modern life is exhaustingly novel. Every day brings new problems, new information, new demands. Your brain is in constant adaptation mode. That's mentally expensive. Comfort content is one of the few places where you can hit pause on adaptation. You're not learning, not adjusting, not coping, just existing in a space that asks nothing of you. In a productivity-obsessed culture, that's almost revolutionary. It's permission to just be. Let's talk practical application. If you're constantly exhausted and reaching for the same 3 movies, that's information. It might mean you're overstimulated in daily life. Too much novelty, too many decisions, not enough routine. Your comfort movie habit isn't the problem. It's a symptom pointing you toward what your nervous system actually needs. More predictability during the day means less desperate need for it at night. But until then, rewatch away guilt-free. There's also a social element. Comfort movies often remind us we're not alone. Whether it's a found family in Marvel or the quiet companionship in Ghibli films, these stories reflect connection. When you're too tired to socialize but too lonely to sit in silence, a familiar movie bridges that gap. The characters feel like friends. Their world feels like home. You're borrowing their warmth until you can generate your own again. That's beautiful. So what's the takeaway here? Your brain isn't broken for wanting the same comfort content repeatedly. It's functioning exactly as designed. After expending energy on uncertainty all day, it seeks restoration through certainty. That's adaptive, not avoidant. Honor that need. Build a collection of comfort content that genuinely soothes you. And when someone judges your viewing habits, remember this: you're not being boring. You're being neurologically intelligent. There's a massive difference. Next time you're exhausted and reaching for that familiar favorite, smile. You're witnessing your brain's incredible self-care system in action. You're lowering cortisol, regulating emotions, creating psychological safety, all through something as simple as a movie you already know by heart. That's not laziness. That's wisdom. So curl up, press play, and let yourself sink into that warm, predictable comfort. Your tired mind deserves this gentle refuge. And honestly, so do you.